What's going on, guys? So I haven't been active on this channel lately. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm gonna start posting skating videos. So if you're clicking on this video, then you're either learning how to longboard or you want to get a little bit more advanced and learn some tricks. So I got my iced coffee here. We're gonna get into the top 5 beginner tricks you should learn. So before trying any tricks, I would recommend being comfortable riding, pushing, stopping, picking up your board, comfortable with falling. You're gonna fall a lot and that's okay. Put on some safety gear. It's gonna be super nice. So make sure you're comfortable on your board before you start trying any of these tricks. First one we're gonna do is gonna be the Ghostride. It's basically like the easiest trick that literally anyone can do, even if you don't know how to skate or you're not comfortable skating yet. It can look super nice if you know how to do it right. Take as few steps as possible. That's gonna be the best thing to keep in mind. All right, so first things first, we're gonna start with the board upside down. So I ride goofy. I ride with my right foot forward like this, going that way. So whenever I do the Ghostride, what you're going to do is put your front foot into the middle of the board, and then you're gonna cross over with your other foot, hop off, and then hop back on, just like that. So the key to this is just to keep your knees bent, keep your weight centered on your feet, and then when you lift off, you're gonna jump, and then jump right back onto the board. So that's gonna be the first way to do it. You can jump onto the toe side edge, which is over here. And so to do that, you can just step off 1, 2, and then back on. Or you can figure out, there's so many variations to this trick that you can kind of do whatever you want with it. But that's just gonna be the basics of that. All right, so the next trick you're gonna learn is gonna be a backside or a front side body varial. All that's gonna be is you're gonna jump and your body's gonna make a 180-degree rotation, either clockwise or counterclockwise. So you wanna bend your knees, jump up, and then turn. So practice on the grass first, and that's gonna help with confidence a lot. Make sure you look at the board, you spot your landing, and then you land right square in the center of the board. You can start with the board upside down on the ground if you want, but I would just recommend just having a front side up and just on the grass so it's not gonna move anywhere and you don't slip out from under it. There's pretty low chance of hurting yourself other than missing the landing, but it's a nice one to get used to, just jumping off the board and landing back on the board without having to step off the board.
Eres un monstruo!
And the next one after that, the third one, is gonna be your pivots. So you have your front side pivots and your back side pivots. So you can do this Fakie or Nollie. If you don't know what Fakie or Nollie stance means, basically Nollie is when your front foot is at the nose of the board and you're going to be pivoting on that part of the board. Fakie is when you're riding backwards, so you're in your normal stance, but you're riding backwards and you pivot that way. Usually people are more comfortable with one stance or the other, just like how if you ride goofy or regular, you kind of just have to figure out which one you are. So the most important thing about pivots, whenever I teach beginners, is the shoulders. You're gonna wanna be able to move your legs, which is fine, but if your shoulders stop halfway in the movement, you're not gonna be able to turn the rest of the way, the 180 degrees. So a lot of common mistakes would be stopping 90 degrees, and that's just your shoulders not following all the way through. So when you initiate the movement, always go to your knees. That's gonna help with balance. So you're gonna bend down, bend your knees a little bit. You're gonna wind your shoulders back, and then you're gonna go the direction you wanna go. So you wanna throw your shoulders, make sure you follow all the way through. It's gonna be a little bit scary, moving your whole body and your board at the same time, but it's gonna be a super necessary movement for anything else you wanna do. So this trick is probably gonna be the most advanced one that you've done because you're gonna be moving your body and your board. It's gonna be all about balance because you're gonna be pivoting on one of the trucks. There's 2 ways you can do this, where your back trucks, the ones that you're lifting, they can lift up. That's completely fine. But if you do wanna get that steezier kind of slide, basically you just have to drive through with your shoulders and your legs. For the pivot, I can't stress how important the shoulders are. Most of the time when you start learning tricks, you're gonna be more focused on what your legs are doing more than your upper body. So your upper body is super important on getting that full 180 rotation for the pivots. So you just wanna follow through on that with the front side and the back side. We have to turn the other way, like around your back, so you don't see where you're going. Just try to turn your head to the direction where you just kind of spot your landing. And so that way will help you commit to the landing a little bit better. Use your arms a lot to help the motion, and you can kind of spot your landing just so you can know exactly where you're gonna land, so it's not like you're guessing. So our fourth trick is gonna be a hand trick, a grab trick, if you will. It's the first hand grab trick I learned. I love hand tricks a lot because it's kind of unique to just longboards. Skateboarders don't really do a lot of hand tricks. They do skate tricks where you don't touch it with your hands. It's like forbidden. I think hand tricks can look super dope, and there's so many variations, and there's very low risk of hurting yourself other than maybe like messing up your hands a little bit. Okay, so this is gonna be the front side Tigerclaw. To do this, basically, you just wanna break it into the motions, the steps. So you're gonna focus on the pop, just like that, and then you're gonna focus on the grab. You're gonna grab overhand like this instead of underhand. So you're gonna go overhand, grab the board. I grab the board about here, maybe here, somewhere in this area right here. You're gonna grab it and you're just gonna turn it that 360 degrees like that and let it go. And then you're gonna focus on the land. Basically, that's gonna be it. There's not much after that. The feet position for this is pretty similar to any other trick. It's not too important. It's more about the pop more than anything. So what you're gonna do is stand with your front foot going, I'm going that way. Your front foot is gonna be pretty normal, you know, not too far forward, not too far back, just like that. Your back foot's gonna be here. So I like to stand with the ball of my foot just right there in the pocket. That's gonna help with the pop a lot. So when you do pop it, you're gonna wanna pop it down and back, down and back. You're just gonna go down and back. It's kind of like that. Not really a scrape, but it's kind of a one full motion. So just break it down. So just work on the pop first. So just working on that. You don't want to stomp on the board like this because when you're doing a trick, you're never going to be doing a pop like that. So you just focus on leaving your foot there and just exerting the force. And a good way to practice it is just picking up your board. That's just a thing that you can just do at any time. Just kind of work on doing this, grabbing with your right hand, just like that. So to work on the pop or the whole motion, what you're going to want to do, you're going to kind of want to roll a little bit, get your feet ready, pop it up like that, and just grab. And that helped me just kind of get used to the motion of popping and grabbing. So just do that a couple times before you start doing anything else. Just like that. And you can see that the board wants to rotate on its own. That's from the diagonal pop like that. So if you scoop back a little bit, it's gonna help propel it so you're not turning the whole board with just your arm strength. The way I do my Tigerclaws, I add a Body Varial in there. For some reason, it's just felt a little bit more comfortable for me that way. But basically, you want to take 2 steps when you do this trick and try not to take any more than that. So when I pop the board, this leg hits the ground first. I take a right step, and then this is the leg I jump off of to get back onto the board. So once you get used to popping and grabbing the board and turning it, what you're going to do is just kind of throw the board on the ground, spot your landing, and try to jump back on it. Just like you can see there, so I basically popped, grabbed, threw the board on the ground, and just kind of jumped back on. So you can take it at that small steps. That's going to help build up the muscle memory. Your body just needs to know what to do, when to do it, because everything's happening so fast that you just have to break it down and it'll become a fluid motion eventually. The most common problem I've seen with this trick is you're usually not popping hard enough. This is a longboard and it's very heavy and there's a lot of weight to it. So like when you end up popping it up like this, most of the time you're gonna pop it not hard enough. Just focus on this. As a beginner, you wanna be able to do this just to pick up your board, or if you need to stop and you don't wanna just like working on this is something, it's not gonna hurt you. It's completely fine. Try to grab it with both hands, do it with both feet, you know. That's just gonna help get that muscle memory of how hard you need to pop. Most of the time you just need to pop it harder. Pop, spot the grab, turn, spot the landing, land. So take your time with it. Don't rush this trick. It's super clean. All right, so we're gonna be going to our 5th and final trick today. So this is gonna be your first actual skate trick where you don't touch the board and both your feet do not leave the board, do not touch the ground. This is gonna be called a Shuvit. You can do this Fakie or Nollie, just like I explained earlier in the video. So Nollie is when your front foot's in the front, and Fakie is when your back foot is still on the back and you're going backward. Basically with this trick, it's gonna be a lot of commitment more than anything. For me, it took me a while to learn how to spin the board around and then jump and land on the board. So a way a lot of people like to explain this trick is just basically just like a pivot and then a body varial, but it's gonna be at the same time. Let's go over the foot positioning. So with this trick, same thing. So I'm gonna be going Fakie. So I'm gonna be going that way, which is backwards for me. So my front foot is around here and my back foot is around here with the ball of my foot right there. So what you want to do is just kind of pivot about 90 degrees, and then at the last 90 degrees you're going to kind of shove the board, like shove it. So you're going to kind of scoop your leg back this way and then your front foot that way. So when you break it down like that, essentially what you're doing is a pivot, and then at the very last second you're going to do a little body varial. So you're going to be landing in the same stance that you started the trick. So if you're doing a fakie, you're going to land switch, which is your other stance. If you do a nollie, you're gonna end up in the same position you were because your front foot is forward. You still wanna use your shoulders in this, similar to a pivot, because you're engaging basically a pivot the same way, and then you're gonna do a little jump. So the jump is the hardest part, just for commitment, because you're scared and your body's not used to that. The thing that happens in longboarding or skating in general is that no one can really give you tips on how to grow up and gain confidence. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. So the only way to really do it is to just kind of get pads. Helmet is important, elbow pads, knee pads, and just kind of commit to it. And once your body feels what it feels like to do the movement, then you're basically just gonna have to recreate it and get it on lock. That's the only way to really grow up and do it, which really sucks, but that's just how it is. Common problems with the Shuvit, it's just gonna be not rotating enough or over rotating the board. You just have to get that muscle memory. So the way to break it down is just spin the board, get used to that motion of your foot twisting the board around, shoving it, and then land with just one foot. Just catch it and then land with your other foot right after. So basically the most important thing about that trick is, with any trick, bend your knees, of course, use your shoulders, build up the confidence to land back on the board. Just get used to the motion. It's gonna take some time. It took me a while to learn this trick, but when I got it, ooh, it felt spicy. Like, I remember the moment I was listening to this song and I was crying. I was like, oh, amazing. Get out there, give it a try. Try the other tricks first. That's gonna be your first skate trick. It's one of my favorites. I do it all the time. That's gonna be the end of the video. That's gonna be your top 5 beginner longboard tricks to learn. Give it a try, tag me. Put in the comments if you need any help. Send me videos, I'm always here to help. You can follow me on Instagram at Tissel right here, or on my YouTube channel right here. Subscribe, hit that like.